So here you go. You pass them down.
That's a girl.
Okay, when we get them passed around, you're gonna put your hat on your head in a hip hop style. Okay, that's a demonstration right there. If you need it, if you don't know what I mean by hip hop style, you can pretend that you do.
Hip hop style.
What that
How are we doing?
You have to return these to my grandsons and where's it? I'll look from there.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes. That's one of Glenn's.
What's that?
Kevin
is not getting on
That is total. That's I'm gonna flash some gang signs at you.
Sarah's gotta do. You gotta turn it, Sarah. Oh, it has to be that way? There you go.
Okay. What was it? I just wanna celebrate. Okay. One more hat.
One more hat.
One more hat.
We need one more hat.
One more hat. That's all right.
You can't be hip hop when you pull out your razor screen. I don't think you can pop a cat and somebody can pop a cat.
So, I want to first tell you about the creation of this song. I created this in my house, and then I sent it out to other parts of the family. It's one party in Israel, one party in Philadelphia, all around. And first, the Philadelphia folks contributed most of the lyrics. And then the Israeli and the Colorado writers got involved, and they made some changes. And this is how this generated. So it's from everyone. Then people recorded their voices and sent me the voices to put over the song. So what you're going to hear tonight, Steve, are all the people who are not here from your family singing to you. And what I mean by singing is saying. Okay? All right. Are you ready? You may read along. Okay, there's a test at the end. Here we go. It's getting louder.
Celebrate Steve-O. Here to talk about Steve-O. Rap about Steve-O. Steve-O, y'all. Steve-O. Kind and gentle, developmental. Steve-O.
I think I'm gonna down.
Straight out of Detroit, could have lived in a snow fort. Steve Gold.
Living in Texas Jackson Prius, not a Lexus, Steve Gold.
That's a real cool city with his ladybird bees. Driving a Prius, and nothing rhymes with Prius. You say, loving on that cat named PK.
Here we go. Ready? I just wanna celebrate. 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 Here we go again. I just wanna celebrate. I just wanna celebrate. I just wanna celebrate.
Let me reach that second.
Thank you.
Hats off to you, Ari.
Thank you.
Have some things to tell you. And I, as the head of the family now, this is a fact I only discovered yesterday, that through death and desertion, I have become finally the head of the family. Relaxing on the beach in Puerto Rico last week, I began to prepare my remarks for tonight. Where to start? Easy. Northwest Detroit, in the years shortly after you, my little brother, this is before you became taller than me, and cousins Howard, Michael, and Barbara, Howard's sister, were born. Our immediate next door neighbors were the Strasses. You remember. Jeffrey Strauss was by any definition not a nice boy. You, everybody's idea of a nice boy, were playing on the lawn and I was reading on the porch. Jeffrey must have been about 11, you about 5, and I must have been 7 years and 9 months older than you, as I always had been and was destined always to be. All of a sudden, I heard a scream, which I knew to be you. Instantly, I, typically nonviolent, was all over Jeffrey. Ascertaining that Jeffrey had taken a piece of rope and lashed you across the back, I was getting ready to dismember him. Hearing the uproar, Molly Strauss, the monster's mother, and a nasty piece of work herself, arrived on the scene to pull me off her kid. To this day, I still remember Jeffrey tearfully complaining to her, "But Byron hits him," and me scornfully responding, "I can't, he's my brother." Shall I review other golden moments of the Byron-Steve relationship? Perhaps a few of the better ones. The summer of 1963, Byron is in Detroit for a wedding. Byron is extremely proud that his little brother will begin attending Earlham College in the fall. After midnight, the phone rings. The future academic giant and a few of his buddies have been arrested for using a firecracker to blow up a rural mailbox. After the softy parents spring the budding bomber and the three return to them in the middle of the night, the older brother has many choice words to offer on the subject of irresponsibility. In the winter of 1965, the subject of tonight's tribute, visits Washington to announce to the older brother and his former wife that he plans on spending the summer in the South registering voters. Needless to say, given the murders of the previous summer, this prospect does not make us happy. Intending to discuss our concerns, we take him to dinner at Washington's only French restaurant at the time. To our surprise, we watch him discover the pleasure of snails sautéed in butter washed down with champagne. To our relief, he decides to go to Japan instead of Mississippi. In 1976, you and I have the opportunity of sorts to live together in a wonderful apartment in Chicago where I fly in weekends to see Adam and Ari. After years of major disagreement, during that year we are finally able to make peace. Skipping over the several summer vacations in Maine with Adam and Ari, we come to the fall of 1984. The U.S. government offers me a one-year assignment in Israel, which I am reluctant to accept for several reasons, but principally because of worry about Dad. You urge me to accept, offering to assume responsibility for Dad watching while I am gone. Your offer ultimately makes possible three very significant changes in my life: the decision to relocate to Israel, the opportunity to meet Rachel, and the decision to provide you with another nephew. I believe that you were the guardian angel without whom none of these three things would have happened. In April 1985, you joined me on my way to Israel to begin the assignment there. Meeting me here in Paris, you and I spent a fabulous 2 weeks driving through France and Italy, our first experience of Europe. The highlight turns out to be a spontaneous decision to take the advice of a tourist in Lyon and drive to Switzerland for what turns out to be the meal of a lifetime. Until tonight. In 1987, you honor Rachel and me by flying to Jerusalem to serve as the person who holds baby alone during his circumcision. This begins a series of trips you make to Israel to join us for Alon's bar mitzvah, my 70th birthday celebration, and Alon's wedding.
Your own bar mitzvah.
Yeah. Finally, in recent years, much to the chagrin of my beloved sister-in-law, you have become the source of endless technical assistance to me about my increasingly complex computing system. With endless patience, you provide me with sagacious advice and constantly solve problems that are baffling me. So what conclusions about my little brother do I draw from this quick romp through a 70-year relationship? First, one way or another, we have always been there for each other. Even though I have not always appreciated that, I most certainly do now. Second, I am so proud that you devoted your youth to fighting for justice for others and opposing a war that should have never have happened. Third, you and I both frequently have shared with each other the importance we each attribute to the role our four uncles played in our lives. In that regard, let me say how deeply moved I am that the sons of two of those uncles are in the room this evening. I appreciate the role you have played, the similar role you have played in the lives of Adam, Ari, and Alon. Fourth, ours has been a truly long relationship. Who among the living has known me longer than you? Well, as a matter of fact, Cousin Robert, Cousin Dick, and even Cousin Linda. Ah, but who among the living has loved me, and have I loved longer? Only you. Finally, several weeks ago, you were advising me about my latest travails concerning internet service. When we finished and I had turned off Skype, I looked at Raquel and said, "Nobody gets me like my brother does." Congratulations on reaching the age of 70. Raquel and I wish you many additional years of happiness with Merlene. We love you very much.
I remember a tour of Rocky Mountain National Park that Steve, Terry, my wife, and I took in 1995 during the afternoon before Ari's wedding. He and Terry had just met, and Steve was welcoming and warm and loving. What a surprise. Steve had his ever-present, at the time, camera with him. So every stop included time for Steve to shape a picture, or 3, or 70. Probably just 3, because this was the time before digital SLRs and film was expensive. As an accounting student at the time, I jumped at the chance to pick his brain and learn what the day-to-day life of a real controller was. The lessons were invaluable, and I soaked it all in for future use. And that afternoon has really stood as the microcosm of my interactions with him. He has always been warm and welcoming, not just to Terry, but to our kids and our friends. He's been free with advice or tips, be it how to get a credit card, or helping me think through a major job change, as he did a couple of years ago. He also sees things the rest of us do not, and he shares those perspectives with us through his beautiful photography. We need more cards, Steve. Steve,
So way up there. 30 or 40 dozen left.
excellent.
They really didn't sell out.
As I said last spring, we never talk or see each other as much as either of us would like, but know that there's always a special place in my heart for you. So everyone, please raise your glass and toast my uncle, my friend, Steve Gould.
Steve Gould. Steve Gould.
We are here to celebrate.
Steve Gould.
The heart wasn't made to run down, skip its beat, break its spring, dull its gears, or twist its face in pain. A real heart filled with blood, dirt, and mud, smeared into the beast, that heart, beaten up alone in the bruised night meadows of heartbreak. Still, my heart lurks, indulged in bile and salt baths. Skunk-ass drunk on could-have-beens, down fantasy backways, the dream of the dreamer in timid seas. A heart of need and shame that spits in its own face, laughs at its own fragile hope, touts its own cleverness, lounges even on its own cleverness, with a simultaneous look of scorn and come hither. Where is the heart, if not exactly at the heart, the exact center, home? The home of it all, where all is beyond fear and callousness, naked in a raging storm. And this is how I found you. Climbed onto the long road of insistence and vulnerability, a pounding of the velvety chambers of my heart, to a recent and blessed reassurance from you that we are beloved and accepted. The sinus rhythm, my heart and yours, simply connect.
Merlene's family must have understood by now there is another nephew. And he's not here. Genius that he is, he did what most Israelis do following army service. He traveled the world. And in traveling the world, he contracted a tropical disease, which unfortunately has persisted now for several years, and it limits his ability to travel. So today, he sent the following to his uncle via me. This is alone speaking to you. Uncle Steve, there are many ways to see a beard. Standing afar, it can seem full and black, like a bush in a mysterious forest. Get closer and you start noticing the shades, the patterns, the coils, the empty patch just under the lip. Follow the beard over time and you see how it changes its color, its density, its length. Some days it stiffens like a brush, some days it is soft like a McDonald's plastic pool ball, stable and yet surprisingly fluffy. As a child, in my mind, your beard was the definition of the word uncle. As I grew older, although your beard made an appearance only every so often, and even less when the Atlantic got in the way, and I was already at the age of reason, your beard also became the definition of the phrase special event. During those events, whether we were walking somewhere or nowhere in particular, whether we were talking about the most trivial or the most profound matters, your beard took on the definition of fun and understanding and significant moments. Your beard has taught me that the wonderful thing about old people is that to a young person, the old always stay the same age. Because while the young race to close the gap, the old are always already old. And the faster the young race, the younger the old get. So as you grow younger, and your beard grows longer, or shorter, or thinner, or thicker, whatever Merlin allows, I wish for it to continue collecting the wonderful twigs and brambles of life in its mix. You will always have a special place in my heart, and I feel so grateful that you are only a WhatsApp call away, and when my health allows, a plane flight away. So from one facial hair enthusiast to the other, with much love, I wish you a very happy birthday. Your nephew alone.
Steve's about the nicest guy around. And we grew up together at a time when it was not good to be a nice guy. We grew up at a time when nice guys finished last. Well, finally, nice guys don't finish last anymore. It's good to be a nice guy.
Didn't prepare remarks. I think back to the times of my childhood when we would have family gatherings at Stephen Byron's parents' home, especially at, say, the Jewish holidays, Passover and so on, where we would search for the matzah around the house that Uncle Irving had planted here and there. And you got paid for the matzah. That was this wasn't like, go find the matzah. This was, go find the matzah so you can get the balloons. Exactly. And we may be kind, but we're not stupid. But I kind of remember that the house in my mind, and I was very young, seemed a little bit darker in its overall ambiance than say at our house. But it was not dark in an ominous way, but kind of dark in a comforting way of a certain kind of peacefulness and restfulness that was very soothing to me as a child. And sometimes my folks would pass me off for a sleepover night. And Stephen, being the older cousin, Byron was already at the University of Michigan and so on, would put up with me in the, I think I got the bottom bunk, because Stephen was so much taller, he could just put his leg up and be on the top. But those are kind of special memories as a child. Like making mud pies with Barbie, who's not here, living in France, Howard's sister. But it's those kind of childhood memories that speak, are important to me. So, older cousin that you are, and older cousin that you are, and older cousin that you are.
Same language as the youngest.
It's my way of spreading. It's my way of spreading the love. And to say that there's a deep family appreciation and love and joy in being part of the family and the tradition that goes with it from holidays and special memories such as tonight. Thank you for letting me, Nancy, and Rachel be part of it.
I'd like to say something else. I was thinking about what the family was like when we were kids. And the siblings were all quite close, and consequently, they spent a lot of time together. The cousins spent a lot of time together. We were all very important to one another growing up. We had a lot of good memories. But the grandmother, the grandparents were not around much. The grandmother was not a real maternal figure. Stephen Byron's mother became the nurturing figure in the family. Everybody cared about everybody, but Sarah was the nurturing center of the family. Their home was the place where people gathered the most. And Sarah was the symbol of nurturing and caring. She died quite young, and we all missed her after that. Steve, when I think about your personality, I think about her. And you really have her spirit.
An amazing man, and I love his family. I have a wonderful family and cousins and everything, and I feel like I have been blessed with another family that I truly, truly love and have enjoyed and become very close to and mean a lot to me. And they've really taken me in and made me feel like a part of their family. And it means a tremendous amount to me that you made me a part of that.
When Merlene said, we're going to have a party, I said, are you out of your mind? I'm not a party guy. It's the last thing I want. But I was wrong, and she was right. And she so often is.
Record that.
You don't have to record it. She reminds me of it at every possible moment. But I really want to just thank you all for being here. You touched my heart, you touched my soul. I'm the one that's really blessed. Thank you.
Best cake ever.
This side of the table over here. Now it's this side of the table.
The Protestant side is what it feels like.
figure out what would be like meaningful to you and something that might be helpful as you get older.
Whoopee cushion, right?
No, it's not a whoopee cushion. And we were thinking, what happens when you get to be about your age?
Comments.
Yeah, depends.
But the big thing is you start to forget things. So this has two things that are going to be very helpful. First of all, if you forget your last name, this reminds you. And if you forget your age, I don't know that you can tell down there, but this is in like a gold here, the G. This is old here. So you can wear this on this side of the field. We weren't sure what size was his, so
you can wear one
and you can just
too.
sleep in the other.
Oh, that's great.
There's a card in there too.
We were sitting around a restaurant downtown.
Yeah.
No, this was in Port Worthing. I think it was the Italian restaurant across from the Bass at that point. And we're talking, and she said something about my mother, and I said something as only a child could say about their mother, you know, like, you know, she wasn't that great, or something like that. And his mother said to me, "How can you say that about your mother?" And I said, "She was just your best friend. She was my mother. I can say it." Well, she told me I couldn't, and I haven't since. So even an old dog can learn some new tricks.
It's funny,